Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Um, I wanted to I want to do this on a weekly basis, so I'm gonna start with Thursdays 9 o'clock, just because of the way my schedule is. I'm working on a lot of different things. I have a 9 to 5, plus I'm doing a couple side projects, while also trying to watch some more movies and TV. It sounds weird. I'm not a movies and TV person, so I'm trying to do more of that. But I want this my my goal in these streams, and just to be a more active person online, is to serve as like a voice of reason in the IWC, Internet Wrestling Community. And the reason I'm doing that is because I think the IWC could be great, but at times it could be very toxic and tribalistic. So I figure, and I'm a pretty objective person. At least I like to think so. I could see things from both sides of things, or multiple sides. So I want to do this on a more routine basis. I want to, like I said, I think Thursdays 9 p.m. I know it's 9:15 now, so I'm a little late, but I want to start making this a routine. So hopefully I get more of a following, and I can do this more. Maybe I can do this more regularly. I can dedicate more time to it if it's successful. Um, so that's pretty much it. So I wanted to get into the news of the day. Basically, I'm not going to be the one that reports to the news. I want to serve more as like a pundit that reacts to the news and gives my take on things every once in a while, because I feel like voices like mine can be pretty valuable. I know that sounds self-aggrandizing, but I promise you, I'm not a I'm not grandiose with many of my takes, and I'm more than happy to be proved wrong on something. So that being said, I want to get into the Vince McMahon story that happened today. Basically, Vince is trying to finagle his way back in the WWE, and I want to start with this video by Pilana Productions. More Pilana, uh, to be more specific on the channel. Um, Pilana's takes can be good. They can be pretty cringe also, but I like him, I guess. All right,
Vince McMahon
let's give this video a watch, shall we? And we're playing ESO also. And if you're new here, feel free to give me a follow or say hello in the chat. And if and I'm not confining these streams to wrestling. I'll talk about other things if I find it interesting. Like sometimes there could be weeks where there isn't much wrestling news and I have nothing to talk about. So yeah, I'll go for about 2 hours, which is what I'm thinking. So thank you all for joining me. Let's get on with this video.
is returning to the
It's
WWE
the
and
full
he's
screen.
looking
Sorry.
to sell the company. This could very well be the ending for WWE as we know it. Let's talk about it. The Wall Street Journal just published an article stating that this is going to happen. It's no secret that Vince McMahon has had a major impact on the world of professional wrestling. As the former CEO of WWE, McMahon helped turn the company into a global entertainment powerhouse with a devoted fan base and a unique brand. However, recent rumors that McMahon is planning to return to WWE and a pursuit of a sale is in place have left many fans worried about the future of the company. While McMahon is no doubt a talented and successful businessman, his return and potential sale of the company could have negative consequences for WWE and its fans. First and foremost, McMahon is known for being a demanding and hands-on leader, and some worry that his return could disrupt the creative process and stifle new management. The WWE under Triple H has seen some of the company's best creative work in years. The
I just realized I've been muted this whole time. Wow. Welcome back to the stream. Well, let me repeat all that. So Polana was saying that the product has seen a much greater improvement in its quality. I would argue that the improvement has been minor. I still think Raw is a chore to watch at this point. The 3 hour time that it takes to finish it might be the biggest. I think I just went in a complete circle. I'm trying to like give my thoughts as I'm walking around in this. But nothing is really all that interesting right now. The pay-per-views have been great, but the weekly TV has just been kind of mid, if I'm being honest. I feel like the Bloodline is great, the Bloodline stuff, but there are some minor changes that would make me tune in more regularly. The first is the crowd noise. They still pipe in that crowd noise from the Thunderdome, and it's the most obnoxious fucking thing ever. Like, you can totally hear it. Like, no, it sounds like rain. Like, anytime I'm like, oh, did you hear the rain that they piped in? And they're like, everybody's like, you mean crowd noise? I'm like, no, it's rain. It's fucking rain. So it just makes it seem so fake. And then every time somebody talks, they turn it down. Like, it doesn't make the show feel any more alive like they perceive it does. I'm sorry. So that's one thing. The second thing is the presentation. Or like just the overall like the logos and everything. They all seem very, very retro. I feel like they could use a modern twist. Also, both shows, Raw and SmackDown, are plastered with the colors of each respective show. Like, Raw is puked in red, like vomited out red, and SmackDown is blue everywhere. And I'm more of a minimalist and much prefer like a more subtle thing. I think AEW does this better. Excuse me. So those minor changes would be a lot more likely to get me to tune in every week. But that's just my opinion. I'll try to remember to keep my mic on.
Innovation from Hunter has been a breath of fresh air. He changed the game and stayed ahead of the creative curve. Some think that McMahon's return could completely ruin all of that progress. In the past, McMahon has been known to be resistant to change and resistant to new ideas that deviate from his own vision of the company. This led to a creative stagnation at times, and many fans worry that McMahon's return could lead to a repeat of this pattern, and I could very well see it happening.
I think I remember seeing that, in his own words, that he doesn't intend to uproot any of the management that's replaced him. I'm gonna put that up on the screen in the video so you can see it, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Also, on top of that, think about all the talent that was brought back that McMahon didn't like Bray Wyatt or Braun Strowman. Are they just going to be fired again? These are the questions that need the answers. McMahon was out of touch, and that was not helping the promotion towards the twilight years of his career. The WWE has always been at its best when they're willing to take risks and try new things, and some fear that McMahon's return could prevent that from happening. There's also concern about the potential sale of the company. WWE has a dedicated and passionate fan base that values the company's unique brand and style. The McMahons have always owned the WWE, and just to hand it over to another company does not sound like a good idea. I don't think they will manage it well. A new owner could potentially change the direction of the company and undermine its values, which could alienate its loyal fans. Many fans are also worried about the financial implications of a potential sale. The WWE is a publicly traded company, and a sale would likely result in a significant payout for shareholders. However, it's unclear what the long-term financial impact of a sale would be, and there is fear that it could result in cost-cutting measures and layoffs in the long run. It's important to remember that these are just rumors at this point, and it's unclear what the future actually holds for WWE and Vince McMahon, but it sounds like this is most likely going to happen. With all that being said, the prospect of McMahon's return and a potential sale of the company has many fans feeling anxious and uncertain. It's also very ironic that this report came out weeks after the previous Wall Street Journal article about Vince McMahon that was published, talking about how he was interested in returning to WWE. When that report came out, there were people within WWE who were against that idea, and now McMahon is choosing to come back just to simply sell. I don't buy it. I don't know about you, but I think it sounds like he's trying to sell for the simple fact that they don't want him to be a part of the process anymore. And if that's true, that would be absolutely cruel, savage, and villainous. Like, just imagine what he would do to his daughter because she didn't want him back. That would make him an absolute snake if that's the case. It's also important to note that McMahon has stated that he will not be a part of the creative team upon his return. However, this is Vince McMahon that we're talking about, and I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't true at all. Honestly, Vince McMahon could be making up this entire thing about the sale just to get back in his old position at the company. I will be curious to see.
That could very well be the case. So yeah, we'll see
what happens in the future. My prediction is that the WWE sells to either NBC or Disney, or McMahon just finesses everyone and comes back to book the show again. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts on McMahon coming back to WWE and a potential sale of the company, and I'll see you all in the next video.
So the full story, like last month or a couple of months ago, the Wall Street Journal came out with an article basically saying that McMahon wanted to come back and that the people close to him gave him bad advice and he never should have stepped down. It would have blown over. But that is probably the case, but I feel like the board would have removed him because it was like he used company money to as hush money to pay off a couple of women, and I don't think the board would have been okay with that. But I'm no expert, so where the fuck do I go? Like, seriously. So anyway, let me kill this guy. We could watch another video. Do I want Vince? If the question was, do I want Vince McMahon to come back? No, I thought one major improvement to Raw. There's actually wrestling on it. Vince's Raw, with the 15 wrestlers he had left, he managed to put in package after commercial break after the same wrestlers over and over. Like, the Raw, it was unwatchable just because he had no personnel to fill that 3 hours. It was ridiculous, and I'm glad that Triple H brought people back. They need to fill up the roster. You can't fill a 3-hour show with what they have. You just can't do it. But do I want Vince McMahon to come back? No. Come back? No. Like, he's given us some great moments, but fuck, dude, let it die. You're 77. And I know people close to Vince will say things like, "Oh, he'll die in the office or whatever," which he probably would. But I that sounds gross. I don't want to see that happen. Okay, these guys are annoying. You could die. Thank you. Let's go to support Wrestle Talk. Vince McMahon's coming back. I can't believe it.
Well, here we are again.
Which way did I come in?
I guess. So far, in 2023, we've had a Wrestle Kingdom show where WWE's contracted talent, AEW contracted talent, and New Japan contracted talent, obviously, competed on the same show. Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks, debuted in New Japan.
Yes, I will talk about this
crazy.
Afterwards.
Kenny Omega returned to New Japan, teamed with Kazuchika Okada.
Holy shit.
That's crazy. Mercedes Moné might be on her way to AEW. That's crazy.
We'll see about that.
And on the 5th day of 2023, my true love gave to me.
Just real quick, there was a report by Dave Meltzer that said that Mercedes is not in LA and she will not be on AEW. Like nobody's. I mean, she could be swerving us, but you know what also could have happened was that Tony could have like, because he's not a good booker in my opinion. So he could have like had the slot open, like like this match was scheduled for a while. Like they scheduled this tag team match between Saraya, Jamie Hayter, and Britt Baker for like a month and a half, or like it was just a regular TV tag match. That's it, and they're talking about it for a month and a half. It's not like there's any high stakes to it. It's just a TV tag match. But they got to be doing it for a reason. So, but thing is, Tony, I don't think he's this stupid. He can't be. He couldn't. What I'm thinking is he might have like done it to like entice Mercedes to be on AEW, or like maybe he had a thought, or maybe he was told by somebody that maybe I can make it, and he booked this slot. But then it looks like it's, according to the report, it may not happen. So Tony now has to scramble. Because on the last AEW show, they did like a sit-down segment, because that's all they do with the women these days. They no in-ring promos, just... Never mind. They had them in the back. It was Saraya, Tony Storm, and Hikaru Shida. And basically, Saraya picks Tony Storm as her partner, and I was like, what the fuck? And Hikaru Shida's got like the surprise Pikachu face, and I guess they're teasing a Shida heel turn, but you know the match is next week, and there's no, I can't, there's if something happens and Mercedes shows up, I hope they're not going to do a run-in. AEW does way too many run-ins. It's ridiculous. But we'll see. But you know what? My hopes are high, just because there's no way you can tease a match or advertise a match for a month and a half and not follow through on it. But Tony's really good at not following through on things. So we'll see what happens there. Let's get back to the video.
Vince McMahon returning to WWE.
What the hell? I'm gonna die.
So, for those of you who are unaware,
because I can't get this video full screen.
Shortly before SummerSlam, Vince McMahon stepped down from WWE.
I'm gonna die.
Hella allegations against the man. Hush money scandals. Wall Street Journal exposed a bunch of stuff of him using company money to cover up affairs and all sorts of things. It was a bad time. The board of directors did an investigation into Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon left the company's seat of power as CEO. However, he remained as majority shareholder and still had power in that regard. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal once more, that power is being used once again because...
We're running past him.
77-year-old sent a letter to WWE's board in late December detailing his desire to return to the company he ran for 4 decades to help spearhead a strategic review process. Mr. McMahon believes there is a narrow window to kick off a sales process because WWE's media rights, including for its flagship programs Raw and SmackDown, are about to be renegotiated, according to the people. So, this is saying that Vince wants to be back in his position of power ahead of contract renegotiations for TV deals and ahead of a potential sale of the company. That is in writing. That is what they're saying. Mr. McMahon, who has majority voting power through his ownership of WWE's Class B stock, has told the company that he is electing himself and 2 former co-presidents and directors, Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, to the board, the people said. The move to reinstate Mr. McMahon, which the board previously rebuffed, and the others, will require 3 current directors to vacate their positions. That is wild. the fact that Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, who left the company on not the greatest terms, and they were kind of replaced with Nick Khan. That's when Nick Khan came more into power in the company. That's when he was brought in as the president to replace Michelle Wilson and George Barrios. They had disagreements about the WWE network and how it was being run and the sell of it and how they should promote it. Oh,
Yay.
so much to dive into on that. Nick Khan was the guy who came into...
Yeah, Vince has got like 2 like board buddies, I guess, that he wants to put himself in and remove 2 people so they could be supplanted by his buddies, I guess.
To replace those guys. Vince McMahon seemingly fell out with Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, which is why they were released from the company. And then Nick Khan was brought in to replace that void and has had a huge impact on the company since he's come on board. But now Michelle Wilson and George Barrios are back.
Let us level
so
up,
it's the
shall
real old Vince era. But then there's even more of this stuff.
I gotta sneeze.
So, Vince McMahon is going to be re-electing himself to power in
Oh,
WWE.
mighty mute button.
The board of directors have previously told Mr. McMahon that this is not
Calm
what
down.
the shareholders would want. It is not in anybody's interest, except Vince's, to come back into power. They said that the board responded last month in a letter to Mr. McMahon that it was prepared to initiate a review process and would welcome working with him on it. However, it said it unanimously agreed that Mr. McMahon's return to the business wouldn't be in the shareholders' best interest, according to people familiar with the letters.
Uh-oh.
The board also asked Mr. McMahon to confirm his commitment to repay expenses incurred by WWE related to an investigation of the allegations and requested that he agree not to return to the company during government probes of the matter. Mr. McMahon said in response that he remains willing to continue working to complete any reimbursement for reasonable expenses related to the investigation to the extent they aren't covered by insurance, but he declined to agree to not return to the company. Now this is the real kicker. He has communicated to the board that unless he has direct involvement as executive chairman from the outset of a strategic review, he won't support or approve any media rights deal or sale. In layman's terms, if he ain't in power when they do negotiations for stuff, he will not approve it, and he has voting power. He has the majority voting power, and now he's reinstated George Barrios and Michelle Wilson to make sure that he can have more people on his side and make sure they do things his way. He is holding his company ransom so that unless he's the one running the show. That is insane. He's holding his own company to ransom.
I didn't think Vince would be this unhinged about it. It's crazy. 77 years old. It's like, slow down, dude.
So, that's crazy. That's absolutely wild. I have no idea what to make of this.
I wonder how in touch Vince is with the IWC. I bet he absolutely loves them. You know, I bet he goes home every night and likes every tweet about him by the IWC. You know.
From a fan perspective, what this changes about the week-to-week shows, I have no idea. I don't know if it's going to change that much in the immediate. Triple H is still going to be running things for now. There's no changes on that as of yet. But if Mr. McMahon, I believe, this is pure... Now, we're going from quotes from the Wall Street Journal. Now, this is speculation from me. If Mr. McMahon is coming back to WWE in his position of power, purely to renegotiate,
I need to lower the
potentially
sound on this.
sell the company, that feels like the thing that he wants to do is sell WWE. He is coming back to power to get a ton more money from selling the company and then going again. The week-to-week, the Raws and the SmackDown creative, I don't know if it's going to be impacted that much. Maybe it will. Maybe he'll get into that seat of power, renegotiate a deal, and actually be like, oh, what? Triple H, can you actually piss off? I want to have my old job back, please. I don't know what's going to happen here. This is entirely unprecedented. This is absolutely buck wild. Vince McMahon retiring was arguably the biggest story of 2022.
I wish I was covering news last year.
Sure. And now on the 5th day of 2023,
be wildin'.
He's going to be reinstating himself.
Fuck.
Boy friggin' howdy. If 2022 was crazy for wrestling news, this is only the 5th day of 2023. I don't know what's coming the rest of the year. Would you like to see Vince McMahon back in power? Leave a comment down below. You'll be wrong if you say yes, but leave a comment down below. You're entitled to your opinion. You're also entitled to be wrong. Leave a like on the video.
I may switch to Skyrim just because I can pause it.
Subscribe.
I can't pause this.
We don't normally have videos with me sitting at home. It's normally in a very nice studio. But hey, it's 10 p.m. I'm at home.
Let's do that.
Vince McMahon back in WWE. Vince McMahon back in WWE.
Let me check some of these comments. We hired 18 wrestlers. I don't think he would. Maybe he would. Maybe he would just fire the ones that got hired back. It's so weird how shit changes. Like, how's the podcast going? I mean, if you want to call it that, sure. It's going pretty good. I started with the microphone muted, so there's that. I didn't realize it. Thanks for telling me. How we looking? Oh, we're doing good. I'm switching to Skyrim just so I could pause the game whenever I have to talk about something. Yay. The problem is I don't think Skyrim is borderless windowed. I have to. Well, that's not. Come on, baby. Are you not watching a podcast? Oh no, I finished that podcast. Right now we're covering the Vince McMahon news. I'm just reacting to videos. There's that news, and then there's the Mercedes Moné news. I'm just giving my take on it. I figure it's easier to do this on my own, just because. I mean, if I were to it was easier to do it in a party last time because it was just you. I think my friend Nathan's in the chat. Let me see something real quick. Hey Nathan, can you type something? Oh, did you manage to figure out your night pie? No, I still have to do that. I like that the chat plugin is working. I can see all the chats coming up here. So anyway, let's get back to this. What next? Refresh the page. We're gonna react to a Jim Cornette episode at some point whenever he has something interesting to say. But his stuff comes out like way later. Okay, we got some from F4W. Let's see here. Should we check out Denise? She's the first one and everything, so we'll give Denise a watch.
Vince McMahon is plotting WWE return, and he has notified the board of directors of his desire to return.
She is the perfect commentary voice.
Hey there, everyone. You're watching the latest. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo, and we got a major update on Vince McMahon, so let's jump right in. Vince McMahon is making a play to return to WWE. As first reported by the Wall Street Journal, Vince McMahon plans to return to WWE in order to pursue a sale of the company. McMahon is said to have notified WWE that he will not, as majority owner, quote, support or approve any media rights deal or sale if he was not named executive chairman to lead a review process. McMahon was quoted in a press release on Thursday. WWE is entering a critical juncture in its history, with the upcoming media rights negotiations coinciding with increased industry-wide demand for quality content and live events, and with more companies seeking to own the intellectual property on their platforms.
Fuck.
The only way for WWE to fully capitalize on this opportunity is for me to return as executive chairman and support the management team in the
I'm the
negotiations
boss.
for our media rights, and to combine that with a review of strategic alternatives. My return will allow WWE, as well as any transaction counterparties, to engage in these processes, knowing they will have.
I think he was. I don't think he was ever fully gone. Remember, like when he like did when the story initially came out about the scandal. He just comes out and just like recites the WWE signature on SmackDown. Then, now, together, and the most important word. Forever. In other words, I did this. I did this for all of you. Don't you dare take me down.
Have the support of the controlling shareholder.
Fucking great.
McMahon has also notified the company that he is electing himself and former.
How do you
company
elect yourself to
presidents
something?
George Barrios and Michelle Wilson to the board of directors. 3 current members of the board will be required to vacate their positions as a result.
Shit, am I a vampire?
Regarding the elections of Barrios and Wilson, McMahon said the following. Ms. Wilson and Mr. Barrios are highly qualified directors whose professional experience positions them well to help the company achieve the best possible outcomes in both initiatives. As former WWE co-presidents and board members, they are intimately familiar with industry dynamics and the organization's operations, and have helped guide the company through past successful media rights negotiations. I look forward to working closely again with Michelle and George, as well as the company's remaining directors and management team, who have my full support and confidence. WWE has an exceptional management team in place, and I do not intend for my return to have any impact on their roles, duties, or responsibilities. McMahon is said to believe he will assume the
That was the key thing. He says that, but we'll see what
role
happens.
of executive chairman upon returning. However, WWE
It's going to be so interesting to see where the pendulum swings, because in the latter half of 2022, AEW was fucking bad. It was just hard to watch at times, but that's because Tony was going through a bunch of personal shit apparently, and the odds were more in WWE's favor. Now it looks like the pendulum's swinging back again. It goes in like cycles, who's good and who's bad, But at the end of the day, all that matters is the ratings and how much money you make.
Need to approve this.
That's the real win. That's the real war.
To WWE in late December, detailing his desire to return in order to spearhead a sales process. WWE's board responded to McMahon that they are willing to work with him on a review process for a sale, but unanimously agreed McMahon returning to the company was not in the best interest of shareholders. The board also inquired as to McMahon's commitment to repay company expenses relating to the investigation into allegations of hush money payments. They also asked McMahon not to return to the company while government probes into the matter are
Get out
ongoing.
and stay out.
McMahon responded that he is willing to cover reimbursement for reasonable expenses incurred during the investigation that were not covered by insurance. However, he did not agree to return to the company while government probes are ongoing. This is going to be an ongoing story, so I will make sure to provide updates on further videos. But in order to check them out, make sure you guys subscribe to F4W Online. And if you would like to chat more about this with me, feel free to hit me up on Twitter and or on Instagram at _Denise Salcedo. And I'll catch you on the next vid.
Very concise video, Denise. Did we just waste time watching 3 of the same video? I thought there might be something different in each of them. So, I want to watch this. We're just gonna do this. We're just gonna watch one fucking. We'll watch this Mercedes Moné video. And then we'll watch this video that the review of Raw from F4W, and a review of Raw from Cornette. I think that's fair. I think that's a good balance for things. Let me change this to Skyrim. There we go. Yeah.
What should I start with in this first segment? But it is
We
New
got
Japan.
Mr. Alvarez and this
decided
guy.
to hold off the NXT review for a little bit later on, but Wrestle Kingdom 17 at the Tokyo Dome, one of a handful of shows. There's WrestleMania, there's All Out, there's the CMLL and AAA anniversary shows, and there's this. You know, they're the 5 biggest shows of the year, arguably. You know, there's times where SummerSlam or Forbidden Door or whatever, somebody's going to disagree. I don't care. The 2 big news items coming out of this show, Sasha Banks and Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay in their match. But
I did not watch
Mercedes
this show, by the
Moné
way.
And Dom, go ahead, get it ready, because, folks, there's a reason I'm playing this whole thing. So when Dom gets it ready here, here it goes.
Oh, congratulations on making history tonight. I also know a thing.
I remember. I think Mercedes was very jittery during this promo, and that's because they botched the move that they did. I'll put a video over the stream when I edit it. Oh man, but it was pretty rough.
Tonight.
Out making history.
I thought that or she was just sniffly.
I am here in New Japan and Stardom to make some more. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm the standard, the conversation, the blueprint, and the CEO of this women's division.
I guess WWE didn't trademark any of that stuff. The standard, the blueprint.
So Kyrie-san, enjoy your IWGP Women's Championship while you can, because that battle in the Valley in San Jose, I'm gonna leave you bankrupt, bitch. And you can bank on money.
You're right. It wasn't perfect. Kyrie didn't know how to take that gory suplex, spun into a DDT that Sasha does, and Mercedes had a bunch of verbiage to say there, and sounded like her nose and ears were a little bit clogged. And
Yeah.
you know, the thing is, though, she did come off as a big star, and that's the bottom line. And
oh no,
the hair and the music, which seemed to use a crisscross sample, that's all subjective, but this was just one to grow on. And bottom line is, there's matches if they want them with Kyrie, with Tam Nakano, with Mayu Iwatani, with Julia, with Utami Hayashishita, Starlight Kid. I guess Mina Shirakawa has thrown her name into the mix, and the matches is what we all kind of want to see, I think. And there's a lot of people, of course, as usual, on social media who are reacting way too strongly on both sides of the spectrum when it came to her debut. Way too emotional on both sides. But
don't you reanimate her?
And those people who stand up for WWE and anything outside of it is garbage. Well, you know, those people are going at it, surely. But, you know, people are also complaining about the length of the women's match itself. And I know that Julia had some comments to say about, you know, any relationship with New Japan. They don't want to feel second rate. They don't want to feel like they're walking behind a New Japan wrestler. And Kyrie defeated Nakano to retain the IWGP World Women's title, the first defense. It went 5:57 bell to bell. So it was really more of an exhibition of what women's wrestling can be on big New Japan shows as opposed to what Stardom really can offer. But Kyrie won with the insane flying elbow after a couple of spinning back fists, and Nakano did hit the violet screwdriver, which looked really cool, got a big pop and everything. But the whole entrance of Sasha Banks took a couple of minutes, and then you had the promo and everything. And when you look at the other matches that were on the show, especially early, you know, the IWGP tag match went 10-10. The junior tag match went 10-29. Zack Sabre Jr. and Ren Narita went 10-32. Tonga and Anderson went 9-36.
I don't have time to watch all this wrestling. I don't know how these people do it.
They didn't have long matches. It didn't get into double digits until the end there, you know, again. Until the end of the show with those last three matches. So when you include everything else that took place, they got as much time, you know, for their segment as everybody else did. It's just that, you know, you had Mercedes Moné making her big debut, and that's something that you have to sacrifice. And I think the people that are really fired up about this and using this as a tea leaf as to the treatment of women's wrestling in New Japan, I think maybe jumping the gun a little bit, but, you know, we'll have to see how things go. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada and Jay White. I said it on Twitter earlier today that there was nothing that White and Okada could do, because even if there was something creative that was done with their creative leading into this match and in the last 6 months, frankly, it still would have been tough, because they're great together and they played all the hits and they had a hell of a match. It's just that Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega is fresh, Omega making his big comeback, and they were looking to take, not steal, you know, they were going in there thinking they were the main event and they were going to take their rightful spot, and that's certainly what they did. Omega's entrance was something out of like a Cecil B. DeMille 50s Hollywood Bible epic. I mean, complete with a whole musical score to it. You know, he really was the bad guy, the returning supervillain coming back and looking at this scorched earth, in his opinion, that he's left in the wake of going to do great things, and he left it to Will Ospreay to take care of, and my God, look what's happened. And the story of this match playing itself out the entire time with Omega and Ospreay throwing everything at each other.
This guy's going to kill me.
Ospreay
Holy
just
shit.
not being able to throw enough. And he comes out and he's got his whole crew with him. And he's playing the part. He looks the part. But you heard it at the press conference, if anybody heard any of that. Omega immediately under his skin, just by calmly talking to him, needling him, knowing that Ospreay maybe isn't ready in storyline for the position that he's in. He is weak. And here comes Kenny Omega walking back in first day and takes his title away from him. And they did everything in this match. There was the double foot stomp off the turnbuckle by Omega onto Ospreay on the floor through a table. There was Ospreay's corkscrew flying twister press down to the floor on Omega not long after that. Once they got back into the ring, you know, they started hitting each other again with moves. Incredible stuff. Ospreay flipping through a dragon suplex from off the top rope and then immediately hitting a Robinson special. There was Omega DDTing Ospreay onto the exposed top turnbuckle, which busted Ospreay open. A hell of a blade job there, and that's when the drama really started to crank up. Omega was really feeling himself. Red Shoes, they're checking the cut. The announcers are wondering how long it's going to go, and Omega's hitting big move after big move after big move.
Oh, shit,
and
I didn't want
Ospreay is
that.
still somehow surviving. Second rope, Kreutz Wrath. 2 count. V-trigger, 2 count. 2 V-triggers, and then a third, but Ospreay blocked it, fired up, came back. Got a near fall after a hidden blade and an Oz cutter. Hit a Styles clash and a really stiff-looking hidden blade for another 2 count. He did everything, but Omega got him down. And as he held both of his arms up, Ospreay, all bloodied, looked up, and he spit at him. And Kenny Omega, in perfect form to do it, called back to Kota Ibushi, hits a Kamigoye knee strike. The one-winged angel wins the match. And unfortunately, like I mentioned, there was nothing Jay White or Kazuchika Okada could do to follow that.
But did you know that in January, WWE presents the Royal Rumble on the show?
It's not doing Brian's outro. Okay. Let's do the Raw review from F4W.
The Raw show.
Brian.
Well, you got to take the good with the bad.
At least they do it quicker
There
than
was
Jim
one
does.
absolutely horrible segment. And one segment, I don't care. I don't care about any of you. I loved it. and I think he's the best new character all of WWE.
Give me a quick second.
Dominic Mysterio. So we shall get to here. Hey, it opened up with a good match. Kevin Owens came out. Bloodline destroyed everybody. They're beating up blokes at ringside. Security guards, they get beaten up. Kevin Owens comes out. Adam Pearce comes out. The locker room empties. They finally get rid of these Bloodline geeks. But then Pearce says, hey, you're here? Well, I'm going to put you to work. And they get signed for matches later on in the evening. They showed a guy at ringside called Hardy.
Yeah, who the fuck was that guy?
Hardy.
Oh, God. I hope he's not in the Royal Rumble.
He's so famous that he can go by just Hardy.
Hardy, not Ed Hardy.
What's taking
not
my
Jeff
health
Hardy,
away,
not
bro?
Matt Hardy. Hardy.
Hardy.
Hardy.
All right. Well, anyway, he's there. And he's going to be singing at the Royal Rumble. Hardy.
Hardy.
Cool.
Hey, Dom.
How much did he pay for this role?
Dom, you're a young person. Do you know who Hardy is? No, I do not. Is this an Atlantic Records
Bro,
deal
he ain't that
since
young
they all
anymore,
are?
Know? He's catching up to us.
God damn it.
Hardy.
We had Bianca versus Alexa Bliss.
Oh,
Man,
this.
I hate,
Oh,
you know what's funny is like
this was rotten.
I've given this speech 1,000 times. All of these hardcore fans of women's wrestling, what they demand is equality, okay? Yet when I review these matches with nothing but fairness, I am lambasted for it. Alexa Bliss, God bless her.
Oh my God.
I'm sure she is a wonderful person. She was horrible in this match. She was missing spots left and right.
I can't kill this guy.
She threw a forearm early that missed by 5 feet, at which point Corey Graves had to say, don't think she connected with any of that. Then she's supposed to be taking a series of body slams, and she takes this body slam, and Bianca literally puts her hands on her knees, and she's 2 feet from her, and she screams, "Get up!" And Alexa has to scurry to her feet. She hits her with another one. She hits her with another one. Now she's supposed to go for a handspring, standing moonsault, and Alexa's totally in the wrong spot. And Bianca hits the ropes. She stops. She boots.
I remember this. Like Bianca's audibles are really loud. I don't know that it's just her being loud or that's just like because I'm always hearing her call out stuff. So I don't know. But this match in particular, I remember like, and then the afterbirth was worse. But
Alexa,
he'll get to that.
Don't move. Now she has to hit the other ropes. Did the move? I'm like, bro, listen. What is going on here? What is going on? This has been an ongoing thing. And at first it was like, oh, it's part of her character. Oh, her character doesn't care. What's happening? So then, as if the match isn't bad enough, then Alexa's outside the ring and she sees some bloke in an Uncle Howdy mask.
This is what I'm talking about, the spooky shit.
Then she sees another bloke in an Uncle Howdy mask. By the way, this match went 18 minutes, so we watched 16 minutes of bad wrestling to get to this. She gets in the ring, and Session Moth Martinez shows up on the screen. She goes all nutty. She attacks the referee.
Like
they don't even ring the bell, by the way. Like, after the commercial, Corey has to go, well, fans, for all the fans that, like, write down, for moonsalt.de or whatever that site is, it gets all the, well, it was a disqualification. Make sure we got it for the PWI records. And she beats up the guy, and then she beats up Bianca. And then later, bro, after 17 minutes, where she got distracted by 2 geeks in masks, and then went all nutty and beat up a ref, they do an angle later, and she goes, that title's mine.
I hope he talks about what he should be talking about.
A grown-ass man. I am supposed to be interested in seeing another match between these two after that. This was the bottom of the barrel.
Sorry.
And it actually was the bottom of the barrel on the show. It was all better than that.
No bants for you from Session Martina. It's, damn.
I don't know that Brian's going to get to this, but there's something I really want to mention. I just don't buy Alexa Bliss beating the piss out of Bianca Belair. Everything about it looked ridiculous. Alexa Bliss is half her size. And she was bleeding. I mean, you can't control when you bleed, but the optic of it just looked preposterous. Like, this Alexa Bliss is not a large human being. She's also not possessed. They need to stop with the spooky shit. But Bray Wyatt stuck his evil mastermind dick in her brain so far, and she's now a psychopath and is able to beat up Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair could beat up 10 Alexa Blisses. So this was ridiculous. The spooky shit is ridiculous, and they just... Oh. Hi. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hello. Can I leave? But that's my spiel on that. But this guy's an asshole. Bro! Dead. What the hell? I'm abandoning this quest. I can't beat him. Because I hate guys that heal themselves. Anyway. Yeah. That was a piece of shit. That was a turd of a segment. Moving on.
Dude, a moth appeared on the screen, so I gave her a shout out. Now I'm the bad guy. Anything else? Should I have mentioned who was the moth on Lucha Underground? Marty, the moth.
Marty.
I could have mentioned him, but I thought about equality, and now I got yelled at for it again.
Man, Jeff Cobb doesn't have anything to do. Maybe he'll show
Where
up
is that guy, by the way? Where's Marty the moth?
Where's Okan? I need Okan and Cobb to do something. Come on. Rumble's just not enough.
Then we had Solo Sikoa and Elias. They gave him 15 minutes. And listen, it wasn't, like, great. But, dude, if they would have done a singles one-on-one match, I'd have been even more mad than the previous match. But at least they made this a Music City street fight. So they hit each other with tambourines, and they bonked each other with cymbals, and the fans got into gimmicks. And then, Elias took a spinning Uranage onto a piano, which then collapsed and got pinned.
I didn't watch
fine.
This match, so.
It was fine. I'd go as far as say it was almost a little bit good for a while there. We had Sami Zayn and the Usos against the Street Profits and Kevin Owens. 12 minutes. Good match.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Poor Montez Ford didn't want to be out there.
Journal.
And even though 50 nerds came out at the beginning of the show and they all wanted to fight the Bloodline, they still sent this poor guy out there as his wife is being taken to the hospital. And he's all morose. But finally they tag him and he runs wild.
Let's do Don Garth.
And then there's a series of distractions, of course. He knocks Jimmy off the apron, but then he gets booted by Sami Zayn and pinned. They proceed to beat him down afterwards. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre will get a tag title match on Friday. They run out. They make the save. Good segment. Not a good segment. Dexter Lumis defeated Chad Gable. You know, a announcer, Mike, is supposed to have credibility, correct?
Yes.
Because it's their job to sell you on the product.
Please,
yes.
Barry
So
Patrick.
Yes.
Okay.
What the fuck's his name?
I realized Corey Graves had to retire and everything like that. Although apparently he's cleared now. But when
he's not
a grown man tells me that he is creeped out because Dexter Lumis does down dog in his matches, I'm sorry. Or up dog, whatever it is. You've lost all credibility with me. Why is this creepy? He's walking around on his hands. Have you never watched gymnastics? Why are you scared of this? Nobody cares, as usual, because no normal human sees a man walking around on his hands in a seal stretch position and is scared.
You've never been to New York, pal.
God.
Hello?
And then he beat Chad Gable. He countered a cradle. Not a fan. So they're actually doing a countdown to the return of Cody. They're actually not.
I don't know what they're going to do to get Dexter Loomis over. I mean, they could try a bunch of things. I can't think of anything for a character like that.
Not going to do a surprise return.
That's what he is. He's a
They're
character, not a
counting
wrestler.
down his
so.
return.
It's,
And so we got the
biggest
first
problem.
video package here. It was highlights from WrestleMania last year, and his road continues here to this company.
The roads to the top.
Yeah, the roads to the top, exactly. Then we had Damage Control and Becky. They're making fun of Becky and everything like that. So because you know, I guess Bayley
Rabbit.
doesn't have her gear and the other two do, Becky challenges the two of them to a 1-on-2 match. Huh. Well, that's dumb. As it
Sorry.
turns out, it is dumb. They're beating the hell out of her. And so finally, Mi Chin runs out to get on the apron. Becky gives her the hot tag. They end up doing a normal tag match. And in the end,
Damn it! Sorry. I noticed that the wrestlers that Triple H brought back. How long was this thing muted? Never mind. I noticed that the wrestlers that Triple H brought back from being released were like the ones that were the least over. Like Mia Yim, Tegan Knox, Emma, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae. Like, none of these people are really over. So they gotta kind of have to start from square one. I'm not saying Triple H can't do it, but we'll see.
and Mi Chin is pinned by Io Sky,
What was that name again?
which makes Becky very upset. Mi Chin.
Okay.
Michin.
They said that name 3,000 times last night.
Michin?
Yeah, that's what they said.
That's maybe as
Get up
many
there.
times as they said WWE superstar for Shinsuke Nakamura in that match with Muta.
Well, as Vince McMahon used to say, I like branding. Happy for you. I am happy you
Do I
like
go up this way?
branding.
Spas.
Maybe now that you're forced out of the company you founded, you could go be a rancher. Do all the branding you want. VKM. Burn it on them cows. That'll
Double
give you
Cross
something to do,
Ranch.
brother.
My horse is sick.
And we have the greatest video package of all time. Dominic Mysterio, everybody. If you missed what happened, Dominic Mysterio showed up with Rhea at a Christmas party, uninvited, and he was, he wasn't supposed to be.
It's another thing that Triple H does that's preposterous. The skits, they're really not effective. They're really ridiculous. And he did a lot of them in NXT, and they were all, like, preposterous. I mean, it's not the worst thing ever, but it takes away from, like, the realism of it.
Be there. And so they called the cops. There was a melee, and Ray's wife tried to slap Dom. Rhea grabbed her hand, I think. And then, anyway, Rhea got slapped, so she's mad. But the cops show up, and they arrest Dom. So Dom is in the back of the cop car, and he's begging. He's begging his mommy. Not his actual mommy, his mommy, Rhea.
With an eye.
Please don't let me go to jail. I'll never survive. I'll never survive if I'm placed in the clink. Please call Finn and
Damien.
Damien. Finn and Priest, I believe he called him. One
Yes.
first name, one last name. And then Rhea, he doesn't even call her by her name.
Oh my God! 60
He's a weird
days
kid.
In. 60 days in and 30 minutes with this.
So anyway, they announced that he's virtually immediately bailed out by Rhea Ripley. So he spent 30 minutes in county jail. Well, now he has done a video And he is a hardened criminal. Prison, he says.
Prison.
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 Prison changes a man. I've served hard time, he says. And he starts chewing on his toothpick. I'm dying. I am dying.
It's meant to be funny.
Greatest, aside from Sami Zayn, he is the greatest character in WWE right now. Dominic Mysterio, the heel, who is now his whole career, he's now nails. He's nails.
White
He's the
baby
hardest,
face.
toughest wrestler because he's served time in prison.
He went and got a mugshot and fingerprints and had to sit there for a little bit across from a drunk, because that's about all that really happens there in county. And then he comes out of it with a teardrop tattoo. You know what? I was wrong. I was wrong about the repackaging of Dominic Mysterio. I thought this would end up being something along the lines of David Flair being a crazy man. But you know what? Hardened criminal Dominic Mysterio is incredible.
It's the greatest.
It's fantastic. And when he runs back into his father's and real mother's arms one day, it's going to make it even better. Absolutely amazing.
Then the main event was Austin Theory beating Seth Rollins to retain the U.S. title. Seth injured his knee, and after a ref bump, he got kicked in the yarbles, as we used to call it in the YWF, and hit with the chop block to the bad leg, A-Town down, pinned, and they carted him out afterwards. So I think they may be doing a short-term injury angle with Seth Rollins on top of that. But Austin Theory retained the title in the main event. Hey, it was a great main event. Seth Rollins is great. His gimmick sucks, but as a wrestler, dude, he's awesome.
True.
And they had a really, really good match.
True.
And that was the end of Raw. So the highs and lows of Monday Night Raw. And with that, Dom, I will take myself to break as we have run over time here on Wrestling Observer Live. But
Thanks. Okay. I think we're going to do Cornette on Raw. And then December 19th. Oh, shit. I don't think he has it yet. Okay, we'll do the one video, because this one was just uploaded. Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. I didn't watch this. I don't think I watched... How much of Raw did I watch? I watched the Judgment Day and the Street Profits. That was ridiculous. When was the 19th? Damn, dude, he's like behind on shit. Let's go back to the F4W. We'll check out the Dynamite review. Boop.
Show it up with Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. And my God,
This
the
was
crowd.
this past Wednesday.
This match was so great. And
Seattle
you know
crowd was
what I liked
very
about
good.
it? I don't even know really how they did it. I guess they just had a really great match, but I was worried about Jericho putting over Ricky Starks because Ricky Starks needed to beat Chris Jericho. But you want it to feel like a meaningful win and not, oh, you beat some guy who's on a skid. He just lost to that jobber, and now he's losing again. But I think they worked it well enough, and they made Jericho enough of a threat. And they had the great spot where, you know, he's got Ricky in the walls, and Ricky's almost got the ropes, and there's a distraction. They hit Ricky in the face with the bat, and you think, oh, man, it's over now. And Ricky still fights out and does the whole deal. When it was over, it felt like Ricky had gotten a very meaningful win. He beat Jericho. He beat up the geeks on the outside. He speared him clean in the middle. It wasn't like Jericho was portrayed as a loser or somebody who'd lost a step. It was great. And then they beat him down afterwards, and Andretti came out. They beat him down. They put Starks through a table. And I thought this was an excellent opening segment. Then we had the disaster that was the Moxley.
Okay. Jericho. Here's my issue with Jericho. Every ounce of heat that Jericho has is ironic. It's not like real heat. It's just like they sing his song when he comes out. They say Ocho when the referee counts to 8. They love him. love him to pieces, and he he seems to think that just being with somebody who isn't over is going to get them over. In these long, elongated feuds that don't really go anywhere and have a lot of gimmick matches and a lot of things that just make people bored. Like, just the two biggest prospects that would be Eddie Kingston and MJF. Both of their feuds with Jericho were bad. Like, they weren't good. Like, they didn't elevate them. They ran too long. It was nonstop gimmick matches with no heat. People just it just got ridiculous at this point. And Jericho comes out unscathed because he's Jericho. He's got the name value, but the others no. And the whole barbed wire thing where Jericho won, it was just and I this whole afterbirth with Ricky Starks, like, it was a good match. I think I could say that, but I feel like this is not the end. And it's funny. I was listening to Cornette talk about this. Brian Last was saying that, like, who's Jericho's next feud, and he predicted it was Ricky Starks. Right on the money. So we'll see what happens. It's pretty much the same thing he did with Kingston. Oh, you should join the Jericho Appreciation Society. My other issue with Jericho is just he doesn't act like a real person. He acts like a cartoon villain from WB Kids. So the attempts to get heat are very ironic, and the heat he gets is ironic. You could work heel during the match, but lots of people can do that. But yeah, I'm tempering my expectations with the Starks thing because he's a star. Starks is great. And I feel like this is like Jericho's got like two strikes with the prospects that he's feuded with. We'll see what happens with Starks.
Hangman promo. And let me tell you something.
Moxley gets a lot of passes, but he's got to stop throwing around the F word.
Well,
he really kind of does.
He was in a bad mood.
I'm sure Warner Discovery probably was too.
I want to make something clear here, okay? Because I heard a lot of, like, what went wrong last night. I heard a lot of people talking about what went wrong.
Microphones didn't work.
And the thing I kept hearing was Moxley threw the mic, and that's what screwed everything up. And I heard it so many times that I'm actually kind of getting hot about it. I was in the building, and there are 8,000 other people that will back me up here. We could not hear Hangman. We could not hear him, okay? This was an issue before Moxley came out. Now, when we could barely hear Hangman, I think I heard like 5% of what he said. Then Moxley came out, and we can't hear him either. That's when everyone started chanting, "We can't hear you." But we were chanting that not specifically because of Moxley. We couldn't hear Hangman either. So this was an issue from before there was any throwing or anything.
Holy shit.
Something was up with that mic. So then he came out, and then he throws the mic, and I don't know if he threw the wrong one, but he threw the mic and it made a noise, so I think he threw the one that was working. Then he has the one that's not working. Now he's really mad. And anyway, when we finally could hear him, it was like a good promo, but man, this was a disaster. And I will say that the AEW production was not the biggest heel of the night. It was actually MJF when he... And here they are. They're coming in. I was there. Brian is right. Could not hear the Hangman. I'm telling you, it was a problem from the beginning of the segment, not from throwing mics. Sure, throwing mics wasn't good for the mics.
What the fuck are these guys?
Still, they did the preconditioning deal with MJF, and it was every cheap heel thing you've ever heard.
Oh, God.
But when he made fun of Seattle for screwing up
the
Super Bowl, and then he required them to play the footage, man, you're talking about some PTSD.
What's my difficulty
at? They were so angry. They were so mad.
Adept.
And then, as much as I love, great heels and trolling fans and everything like that, then 45 minutes later, they played the exact same video. So they'd already heard it. They'd already been mad. And that footage came on the screen again, and they got triggered all over again. And I swear to God, there were people, they were standing, they were so mad. The second time.
They should have gave it to Marshawn. They should have.
He was right. You guys are marks. Gee, many Christmas.
Well, that's
Like,
okay.
it's
Let's
just
not
a
fast
game.
travel there.
Then we had the Acclaimed versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, AEW Tag Team titles. I want to publicly apologize for everything negative I've said about Jeff Jarrett being back on TV as a wrestler. This guy's been great. And he's not going for the TNT title. He's not going for the AEW title. We have got a giant. We've got a guy that runs around with a pencil all afternoon, by the way. I was there at 11 a.m. He already had the pencil in his ear, which I think might have been the only pencil in all of Seattle, because at one point he had to run for something and the pencil fell out, and he like frantically looked for his pencil. And then you've got Jay Lethal, who's just a great worker, and then you've got this old cowboy Jeff Jarrett, who's like, he does only what he can do. It all looks good. The people hate him. The heat for this match was incredible. And then they did the old school dusty finish. The heels got the win because of Sanjay. And out comes Seattle's own Aubrey Edwards. And she gets the match restarted, and these people were like, yeah, we could have won the Super Bowl. They're flipping everybody off.
I've never seen a second referee come in to do the first referee's job. I've never seen that. Usually there's one referee and that's the decision.
And then they restarted and the Acclaimed win, and they were
couldn't
so
every,
happy.
like-
Dude, this was awesome. Awesome
ref by
segment
Max.
here.
Every finish with interference be like restarted
I had
then.
a big fantasy book and thing about Bryan Danielson. Never happened. He just beat Tony Nese fast. And then they did the long thing with MJF, and they're talking about each other's moms and this and that. And the gist of it is, Bryan Danielson needs to become the #1 contender. So he needs
That
to win
talking
every
segment
match.
was
It's
long.
interesting. He has to win every match until February 8th or something like that. And if he does, then he gets a championship match in March. So I guess, like, in storyline, Tony's like, I need a month to promote or not promote. So we got to make a decision on February 8th.
It's fair.
So he has to win every match. And if he does, it will be Bryan Danielson versus MJF in an Iron Man match. And
Oh, fuck you.
this MJF blow.
Oh!
I mean, he's going to need to screw this thing up, because you don't want this match, Max. I'm telling you as a man who's had two. I've had 2 hour-long matches. I love Bryan Danielson. I love him. He's a great worker. But it is not a work that he has one speed. And he is going to go that one speed for 1 hour. And you're either going to go or you're going to die. And Max better be running, brother. You better be running on that treadmill. And you need to put it on the incline, and you need to do intervals, and you do at least like 2 hours a day, every day. I know it's fake, but just trust me on this one.
He's the old school, right? That's what he talks about. That's who he's been blessed by. That's who he's the throwback to. He's got to live up to it in the ring. Got the 60-minute man. He's the new version of that.
60-minute
right? Well, here's
man,
his
oh
chance
yeah.
to prove it. And the understated brilliance of Bryan Danielson just volleying things back to MJF. MJF needs to show humility sometimes in situations. He can't. Sometimes he's too one speed. What we've seen from him with Ricky Starks, what we're seeing with Bryan Danielson is him against people that are volleying back, and he's letting him do it, and he's letting it go. And I thought Danielson was brilliant. You know, hey, Max, you know, I made the mom joke and everything, but you know what? I hate you. And I'm going to kick your damn head in. And I thought that promo, especially the end of it, selling into the commercial, I thought that was great.
This guy here goes, stop projecting, Brian. Just because you can't doesn't mean MJF can't. Listen, Darkman05.
Maxie Bryan.
Of me, Max, and you, one of us has done 2 one-hour matches. So I don't want to hear about it.
Oh.
Yeah, you heard me.
Yeah.
MJF out there talking about dirt sheet writers never been in the ring. You know what, Max? Of the 2 of us, one of us has had 2 one-hour matches, and one of us hasn't.
Oof.
Did you win them?
I smell a match
Won one of
between
them.
Alvarez and
I didn't win
Max.
the one with Tim Flowers.
Yeah.
Because he was the promoter. Anyway,
So it works.
yeah, it was fake. The other one was real. Swerve Strickland and AR Fox. Crowd was tired after that MJF promo with Danielson, so they had a fun match and everything like that, but this was very like a WWE match where they sit there quietly, and it's like they don't care. But then a cool spot happens, and they erupt into "This is awesome" chants. Then they sit there again, and then some cool happens like, "Holy, you know what?" And at the end, Swerve got the win, and it was a good match. But I think what's most notable is this Swerve. Man, this guy came off as a big deal. So they need to go with this guy because he's great.
Oh, can they listen to Seattle, though? I mean, really?
Yeah. FTR, this thing was just weird. The Guns did
I actually like this.
For FTR, and, they didn't announce to the audience that they were in Japan. They just played their music, and then they never came out. I presume most people knew they worked the Dome, but if you didn't, you were like, man, what cowards. Then we had...
They played it up as if they knew they weren't in that building at all. They brought out the easel with the pictures on it and everything. And I guess this is a good way to announce that FTR might take a couple weeks off to heal up from some of the injuries and the travel and all that sort of stuff, since the Gun said you would never see them in AEW again.
And we had Jade Cargill and Red Velvet against Sky
Death
Blue
Spot.
and Kiera Hogan. They thought that Jade was a star. And that's all I can say that was good about this match. The wrestling was not very good. I have no idea why Red Velvet is teaming with Jade after literally breaking up twice prior to this. Finally, she walks out on her, and then Jade
They'll
just
probably
turns
team
around
together
and
next
she just
week.
beats both of these women by herself, which leads to them announcing Jade will be defending the title against Kiera Hogan, one of the two geek baby faces in this match. At Battle of the Bells, this did not work at all for me.
How did Layla Gray look?
But the main event, Darby Allin, Samoa Joe. This little bell ringer, he went in there and he got his bell rung. Let me tell you. Got beaten. But you know what? I got to tell you one thing. I was scared to death when he took that Uranage on the steps and everything.
Oh, that
But
was
honestly,
brutal.
Other than that, this was like 1,000 times safer than the last match he did with Samoa Joe. That last match he had with Joe, as God is my witness, if they would have just done an MMA fight, it would have turned out way better for Darby. Because this pro wrestling match, dude, I mean, I don't think he's ever been, like, fallen that bad on a half pipe. So anyway, they do the whole thing. He sells his knee.
I think
Joe's
Darby
a great
just likes
heel.
getting hurt.
And then finally,
It's a
Joe
weird
gets
kink.
run head first into the buckle. Darby hits that coffin drop off the one corner. He hits the coffin drop off the other corner. He gets the pin. And for that guy that argued that Darby should not win this title in his hometown, you need to publicly apologize to me because you could not have been more wrong.
I'm taking a shortcut.
Dummy.
God, this place went nuts. And they had the confetti, and they're going crazy. And then Darby
Damn
cuts
it.
his
Never
promo
mind.
afterwards, and he's putting over Nick Wayne, and he's putting over the city of Seattle, and talking about how he can never give up, and this and that. Dude, one of the best live shows I ever went to, like a TV taping. I've been to better pay-per-views, but as far as the TV taping, unbelievable. The WWE Legendary Joke Book.
Why?
Awesome. Yeah, I agree with most of what he said. I don't know about the Darby. The TNT title has always been like this weird mystery to me. Like Tony Khan, I think, is on record saying that the TNT title is on par with the world title, and I think any regular viewer of Dynamite knows that's not the case. He has. I'm glad Ring of Honor is like basically disappeared. Super happy about that. I'm glad he's finally listening. But there was like months of just Ring of Honor just being on every fucking show. What else should we watch? Any other interesting news items for this week? We will see what happens. Oh, we could talk about SmackDown. Let's talk about the Charlotte return. Let's see here. Is this Denise?
AJ Styles suffered a broken.
No, it's just a compilation. Hang on. CM Punk prediction. CM Punk and the Elite are not going to work together. Yeah, we know. Did not have a SmackDown review? Oh, here we go.
What happened to Kevin Owens?
Oh, Uncle Dave.
I don't know. Kevin Owens had a black eye. Sammy had a bloody nose.
I want to skip
Yeah, well,
to
Sammy
the.
had a bloody nose, but I mean, Kevin's.
Are they just talking about the John Cena thing? I didn't even watch that. I didn't care. Okay, I think I'll just talk about the Charlotte thing. So Ronda Rousey beats Raquel Rodriguez. This is the weirdest fucking segment. Ronda Rousey beats Raquel Rodriguez for the title in like how long of a match was that? 10 minutes? 15 minutes, however long it was. After the match, and Ronda Rousey is a heel, that's important. After the match, Charlotte Flair does her return and comes out and challenges Ronda to a match right then there. And Ronda accepts it. I have never seen a heel do that. To accept a challenge for a match on the spot after just having a 10-minute match. That's the most babyface thing ever. I will fight you to the bitter end. And then Charlotte rolls her up in like 3 minutes. And she has the belt now. It's like... I feel like all the hate on Charlotte, and she does get a lot of hate. I think the only legitimate thing to dislike her for is the whole Becky thing. But in terms of like her as a wrestler, she's one of the best women's wrestlers around, like in the world. And it's always been her booking that was the problem, just her positioning in the company. And it's not that she's had a lot of championships or that she's the daughter of Ric Flair. It's just the way in which she got to this position. Like if you don't, like if it looks like you're just handing somebody belts, the wrestler's always going to catch the heat for it. Like Charlotte's she's caught a lot of shit. But the shit should be, but because she's the only one that could really respond to it or react to it. The people that book all this stuff and come up with all the dialogue and everything, they're not reachable. So you complain to the next best thing. How long have we? Hour and 20 minutes. I'll go for another 7 minutes. I think we're fighting this Frost Troll, aren't we? Where's Stenvar? Did he die? I think I lost my companion. But that's all the wrestling news for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, fucked. We could watch something else here. I'm trying to think. We could watch the Cornette segment. Let's see here. We'll have to listen to Renee's podcast one of these days. Because she's had some interesting guests. I really would have loved to. I would have loved to talk about when this was relevant. Kenny Omega's Twitch stream, because I feel like this just passed under the radar. Kenny specifically was there was a clip in there that most people saw where he talked about Cornette and the effect that his criticisms have on the locker room. But there's other stuff in there where he talks about international talent, how they're treated online, and I feel like that part of it sort of was swept under the rug, or just not talked about by anybody. But it's super fucking telling. But maybe something else will come to light. Anyway. Fuck it. Anyway, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. I know I said I'll go for another 7 minutes, but I've run out of things to say on this topic. So thank you all for joining me, and I will catch you next time. Thursday, 9 o'clock. We'll see what the news is for that week, and we can talk about whatever you want if that works also. So thank you. Good night.